So the Game Awards happened last night, and weirdly enough, I wouldn't have expected this sooner rather than later. But they actually unveiled a teaser for the new Street Fighter movie coming. And to be honest, that's kind of a funny surprise because they just finished wrapping that movie a couple weeks ago, and I thought, okay, that movie wrapped. The most I saw were just some costume leaks off of Andrew Schultz is trying to be funny. But the most I've seen with the RDC clips, like already when I opened TikTok, like I didn't even know that the Game Awards were last night, and I thought, some things. Do I really care what got snubbed or not? Because I know Dispatch is still doing the thing, and hopefully that actually, I feel like that could be a contender for Big Game of the Year if it would be. I don't know the details, but it's just what I've been playing recently. The most I saw was Mark talking about 50 Cent, and funny enough that they actually got the cast on stage for that announcement too. So that's gonna be kind of a throw because I had to feel like, okay, I want to look at it the way that he showed it because the way it's like, oh, they announced it at the Game Awards within the live stream. Because the last time I did that was for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I was like, oh, so that's a cool way of reintroducing this whole game format. And funny enough, that one was like the actual game accurate Sonic game. The Game Awards haven't shown trailers in a while, so enough talk. Let's try to see what disastrous mess this could be because there's also this one other thing I want to bring up before getting into the trailer is the fact that, yeah, everybody knows Street Fighter based on the game, but also, if I'm going to be honest with myself about Street Fighter, I'm not really that much of a Street Fighter guy in this case because I know my first introduction to it was Marvel vs. Capcom, just seeing the characters to the arcade machines and just seeing like, oh, there's a ninja guy, oh, there's a girl that kicks, there's a giant green monster, like all that stuff was cool in the Marvel vs. Capcom games. And funny enough, when I was like old enough to understand what Street Fighter was and had its own franchise, because I just saw it like Capcom, like when Capcom was a thing, I was like, oh, Capcom are these characters, but not realizing that they're all from separate games. The only Street Fighter game I ever had played fully and actually 100% maxed was basically Super Street Fighter 4 on the Xbox 360. And after that, it was just nothing. I never continued on with the franchise. I played the demo for Street Fighter 6, and I was like, well, some mechanics work, and I kind of do like the integration that they're actually using Mortal Kombat like moves to actually do the combos. Because the one thing I actually preferred most as a kid was Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter, and it was only because of the gameplay mechanics where I was like, okay, these are button machines that will work in an actual arcade. I tried playing it on a console. I'm like, yeah, okay, I gotta remember A in normal simple mode. I don't even know if that makes sense. And we just played it simple mode because I didn't even know how to do the combos, mostly to do the second special moves on stuff, or even the third one because with Marvel vs. Capcom, not gonna lie, I had the Vita version and I was able to just tap the enemies and tap to see which special move I would get to make it easier. But I never knew how to do the actual combos in an actual controller. It just bothered me. And if I'm going to bring up some other stuff, I might as well just say this is the third interpretation of Street Fighter on the big screen, which, funny enough, we already know that Street Fighter isn't the best video game movie, especially with me looking at it through adult eyes, because I never watched the movie. I was like, oh, I heard it's different from the game. It's not basically based on the game, but has the characters from the game in these specific ways. Like Guile was a military leader. Basically, a couple of the Street Fighter characters that you know from the games are like, imagine the Super Mario Brothers movie, but that was like basically their version where they're not following the story from the game. They're using the characters from the game, using the poses and elements and costumes of the game, but they're just not doing it in the right way. For the most part, it was 90s cheese, and I can just say Raul Julia as M. Bison is still the best part of that movie, no matter what. And we had a sort of sequel that kind of made sense, but kind of didn't make sense. Either it was either a reboot or a sequel to the 90s movie. We actually had Street Fighter The Legend of Chung Li. That movie took another direction where the fact that, oh, in the first Street Fighter, everything was campy and cheesy. So they thought, okay, so fans didn't like that. Let's try to make Street Fighter serious and real. And they actually try to make it like I wouldn't say a gangster ish type of movie where I'm like, yeah, you're just basically inserting characters from the game, but these look like regular people. It doesn't even look like anything compared to the game. The mid 2000s were weird with video game adaptations, especially anime ones, because I don't know what it was that made them feel like, okay, we got to make them low scale, down to earth, and hopefully take out the magical elements from the games because that's the one thing that actually keeps it together. And also the fact that in this movie, for what I saw in the costumes, they are accurate at best. Where I'm like, okay, they got the looks. The only thing now is to see them in action. So longer intro aside, just to reintroduce my knowledge into this franchise. Let's get to the trailer. Or should I say, let's get to the news and then go into the trailer because I got like the video game Q award set up, not the actual trailer. I got that on the side, but I'm like, I don't even know if it was a big difference, but let's just look at it from the Game Awards because I feel like that's a better experience.
something very cool and very unexpected. Get your quarters ready because
I
one
mean,
of
I
the
kind of know
most
it's a trailer
iconic
game,
game
man.
series of all
Mr.
time
Host.
is coming to the big screen. We're taking it back to the 90s when the ultimate rivalries were settled in the arcade. Right now, we have a special sneak peek of Street Fighter. Let's take a look.
All right. Ryu. All right. 50 Cent with that cut. Okay. Hmm. It's always a rock song whenever it's a fighting versus anything, to be honest. Hmm. Eric Andre doing God knows what. Hmm. Oh, the car level. Interesting. Yeah, this is the RDC clip where it's like, yo, where 50 Cent at? Mark. Oh, they got the sound effects. That's a good. Looking at them one by one, I'm like, yeah, Storm Shadow is perfect as Rio. That one I want to see how that works out. Yeah, he did something else later. I'm gonna mention that. That one is interesting because he wears mask. That's not a bad one either. For Zangief. From the Sakai Takai to Street Fighter. I don't think we saw him in the trailer, did we? And the video game icons in the back too. Huh. Based on just that little minute of footage, I'm kind of like a little bit 50-50-ish, but also I feel like I have to look back at a couple things because everything was like flashed and shown in little bits and pieces. As for my first impression looking at it, it's like, okay, they got almost everybody costume accurate to. I'm like, okay, Ryu got the white gi, and Bison almost resembles the '90s costume. It just seems a little bit more a bit smaller because also a thing I'm noticing with all these actors is that half of them are wrestlers and actual people who are experienced some way in martial arts. I wouldn't say the same for Mortal Kombat. The fact that everybody's just actors playing the characters, and you can tell a few know how to fight, but it's mostly like everybody just acting and it's like, okay, you have to do this and this and this but not actual choreographed fighting. Because I'm like, okay, you got mostly wrestlers who actually have a whole feeling experience with this stuff. But for reference, let me try and look back on the trailer again because I kind of want to see a little bit of what I feel like I kind of didn't get. Just looking at it because everything came by in a flash. I kind of want to see everything looking at it in a way where I'm like, okay, let me see if I'm seeing like what I'm seeing with this movie that I feel like could be a comic I wouldn't say accurate depiction of the game because looking at it let me be real with Street Fighter and also this too because I feel like yeah I already know that some people were like okay this looks a little bit cheap this looks a little bit more not like the games which let me get into the trailer then give my little thoughts right after. All right, let's do this again. Okay, I'm just gonna point out Ryu. That's kind of cool. I kind of like the way he actually has his whole glove fisted up, boxing glove, right? Ken up in the rain. Don't know what he's just doing there. He just either that, but that is kind of like a cool like shot right there. Him just standing in the rain. Who knows if he's just fighting Ryu? Okay, Chung Li actually good with the costume. I know that some of the things were like, oh, in the original movie you had superstar actors like Ming Na Wen as Chung Li, but I was like, okay, she wore red. She wore the blue outfit, but at least I could say for this one it is a little bit more modernized. It looks more like the Street Fighter 5 costume, but other than that, everything looks fine with it. Zangief, even down to the chest hair and the mohawk. Oh, okay. All right, this one I already know is kind of funny just looking at the haircut because I thought, okay, 50 Cent gonna be in this. That's gonna be like the weird thing because I already know how he's gonna be, especially if he's gonna be dying trying Boondocks and also his movie. But also for Balrog, the haircut, I didn't actually think it was gonna stick for this. I thought it was just gonna be like regular haired, but just to have those little things as tips. But I guess he actually went full with the haircut. I'm sorry, I'm not knowledgeable in Street Fighter. I don't know who that character is. I'm sorry, fans. Dalsim, he looks all sumo, and right way to pause it too. Cammy, she's wearing the blue outfit instead of the green one. Everybody knows. But also, fun fact is that this actress was Katara in Mortal Kombat One, and when they killed her off, I was like, okay, they brought her into Mortal Kombat One, but not a better replacement because Megan Fox. But you know, but in this case, I can say not bad. The costume looks good and also feels more to the aesthetic of everybody has their own unique style. Because the other thing about Street Fighter that, unlike Mortal Kombat, everybody just has their own clans. Everybody's either a creature or some other person or soldier or whatever. The thing with Street Fighter is that there are actual people in a tournament fighting in their own separate journeys and destinations and their own little campaigns. But everybody's unique to their region and story, but I kind of like how the costumes are almost identical in this case. There wasn't even a need to do this, but it's kind of funny how the only thing you need to know about Guile is just the hair, the flat top, just straight flat top. Okay, Ryu. Oh, pausing it on Ryu, but I was actually gonna make it here. M Bison, I wouldn't say it looks identical, but it's more like the actors. I like the actors, David's motion, but the thing is that I want to see. I know how you can do in a dramatic performance, but it's more like in this case, I want to feel like he actually is threatening. Like he can be threatening, but also the thing is that I'm gonna go into that a little bit later. But everybody just introducing their characters in this intro shot. All right, Andrew Schultz. I already know everybody hating on him right now just for this because um it cut off in the clip, like when it just after the cat showed up on stage. But it was more like, oh, everybody's talking about Street Fighter and their own little thing contributing to it. And when he's like, anybody fans of the game? He's like, we thank you for your patronage, but we're not the only video game movie out there. There's another one that they came all the way, and he was gonna make a joke where, oh, the cast of Mortal Kombat 2 is there. And I was like, "Oh, wait, for real?" He's like, "Nah, they ain't here. They don't care about you. They care about money. We care about money and you." And that was a joke, which some people are really gonna take it seriously. Like, "Oh, he tried to be offended on stage and offended a separate group of studio." I'm like, "Man, it's all jokes. He's a comedian. Let him just do his jokes." Vega, that's the one. I'm like, okay, I know about Orville Peck, but something I know about Vega specifically is that he's Mexican. And I'm like, okay, he Hispanic. And I thought, oh, race swapping. I don't see it as an issue, but it's more like I don't know. In this case, with a full set of cast of characters that are from our other regions around the world, I feel like the one that like the character roots of the characters should still be there. But for Vega, that's the one I'm like, man, they switched the race, but hopefully that makes sense for his characters, and they didn't just pick somebody because he wears mask. I don't know, man. It's just a choice. Okay, now here's where we get into the fighting, which I'm actually going to talk about. Jump kick. All right, Chung Li did the little spin motion, but also there's something missing within these fights that I don't even know if people are going to notice until I mention it, but let's just keep going. I don't know what was going on in that sauna, but that shot kind of made it close to Ryu. Like, whoa, what's going on in that towel? Pause! Oh, okay, I want to go back to that. Right there, Akuma. What's he look like he's doing? He's powering up, but that's the thing I'm noticing with this trailer. I think it's because they kind of finished filming, but also it is kind of an excuse to say, well, who knows? We might see it in the final product, but I don't even know if we're going to be seeing like the little fighting, moving motions of these characters. Like with Street Fighter, I know like with Mortal Kombat, they'd explain the fact that in their movie universe, the tattoo is what gives them their powers. Unlike the game where every other character is just a mystic power, god, being, ninjas, demons from hell, other creatures, but they actually have a reason for why they have their powers or special abilities. But with Street Fighter, almost everybody has an ability to a T where they can just do exaggerated moves. Some of them have a certain power set. Some of them are actual trained martial artists that actually master the cheese, especially Ryu and Akuma, because I know they're going to be opposite sides. But the mystical element of Street Fighter, I don't even know if I see in this. But let's continue on. Chung Li has the kick motion, and this is the second time she's been done dirty in a fight. I know it's not kind of losing to Tori and the Saikai Taikai, but man, losing to Chung Li, that's a new low. Okay, I don't know who that dude is. I don't think I've heard of a Joe. I don't even know. That's a bad shot of this dude. Looking at the side of him, he reminds me of my cousin for real. Just change the hair, make him Salvadoran. He looks just like one of my cousins. All right, Eric Andre. That's I know about Don Savage. He's just basically one of those show hosts that actually I feel like is one of those old school dropouts that doesn't actually have everything capable, but he still knows the motions of fighting. I don't know if he's supposed to be like the ringleader of this whole situation where they're all getting into this tournament or street fight, if we're gonna actually call it that, but we'll see how that goes. But it's just kind of weird seeing him in this, and also not him doing his usual like out of pocket stuff. But we'll see how that goes. I don't know who that is, but they throwing nunchucks. Yeah, like that right here, like that little shot with Ryu and Ken, the little drop kick, and he just kicks him to the wall. I like that. See, bomb. And in the costumes too. See, like Ken has his red outfit on. But the thing is that, yeah, I'm looking at the fights. They're cool. We're seeing real martial artists fight and training. But the thing is that, where's the spectacle? Where's the like? If I expect to get punched or hit by Ryu, I expect like a Shoryuken or anything like that effect, or anything like close to the actual fight, not just like hand to hand like it's an actual martial arts movie or something like that. Since it's Street Fighter, I feel like they had to show off like the abilities. Like I know when Chung Li did the little fly kick, I'm like, okay, it's cool that she did it, but it's the little exaggeration factor that's missing from this whole thing. There's a logo. Damn, that was a drop kick right there, and I guess our introduction to Ken in this case. Okay, but that right there, this little nod to the game, it's kind of funny, and I guess it goes along with that first scene where he has to beat up the car, or at least try and destroy it. And funny enough, the actual game title card number is on the top right there in the back. Cool throwback, and also the thing I like what the video game movies are doing is that they're referencing little things from the game, even though it might be ridiculous. Like I already know for Mortal Kombat, they actually try doing the whole "get over here" thing once in a while to make it make sense, but we'll see how that goes in Mortal Kombat 2 since it's used in a better context. Even Five Nights at Freddy's when they just had the whole they look like the animatronics from the games, but I feel like that's something more like likeness. Like it can look like the game, but just because it looks like the game doesn't mean they're gonna do everything exactly. But this here is a shot straight pull from the game and a bonus level at fact where it's just a throwaway scene just to show, this is how ridiculous this will get, and then he just beat up a car. Okay, I guess they can do that here. Also, this too, it's a lot. It's nothing but a U-win screen, but something I feel like Capcom should actually talk about more is the fact that yeah, this is their movie, so wouldn't it be honorable if they could do their logo like the video game logo, like if they just say, "Oh, legendary," or whoever's distributing this, then it says Capcom presents. It's just something like something Sega won't do with their Sega logo, but it'd be kind of funny if Capcom actually did it because that would actually get me a little bit hyped. Those are my thoughts on the Street Fighter trailer, and also kind of feel like the longest version I can ever do of this because I feel like, yeah, I wanted to look at it and at least kind of like analyze it a little bit, just look at it from give my own point of view. but I feel like I'm not ready enough to talk about these things like that because I'm like, I have a certain amount of knowledge on this certain material that I know I'm not fond of that much. Because I'm like, okay, Mortal Kombat is the best one. Street Fighter is the franchise I'll go to. I know the characters through Dashi, and funny enough, that's how I actually got into the whole. Oh, this is how I know about the characters. But as a game, I'm like, I haven't played like I haven't actually. If I can find a way to actually get the games, like let's say, oh yeah, they got the Fighter Edition out. It's there the whole time. I'm just lazy at this point. We'll see how the movie goes along, but funny enough, even though I know Mortal Kombat was delayed, it's kind of funny how 2026 is basically the year where you can actually choose your video game, fighting game movie. You got Mortal Kombat coming out in May, and you got Street Fighter coming out in November. So it's like, okay, let's just see how the sequel does first. And even though they kind of fixed a couple things from a small clip I saw, hopefully they can actually try and do it with Street Fighter and say, you know what? We already had two bad movies from the 90s. One, especially, is the one that everybody despises, but everybody finds funny and cheesy for some reason. That's still talked about to this day. But hopefully that could actually bring another small step into video game movies as a whole because, yeah, we had video game adaptations on the small screen, but a couple of the video game movies have been a little bit hit ish or mid ish, where I'm like, okay, all they have to do is just follow the simple story. If they can just do that right, fine. Cast whoever you want to cast, but as long as they don't mess with the story and make it what it is, then it's going to be perfect. But in this case, hopefully they can actually pull this off. And best of luck to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in 2026. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. All my social media is down in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.